Welcome back to another episode of Breaking Bread. I'm here with Jim Toscano and Mike Kunda. Welcome, guys.
Yo, three yo-yos hanging out for the day.
Thanks, Anthony. Good to be here.
So, wait a minute. I just want to get this straight. I don't know anyone who could perfect Sly's voice the way that Mike can. And I'm like, not just saying that to like say it. Mike, like you have the voice absolutely so down packed. Like how long did it take you to do something like that?
40 years. Anthony, I do want to thank you for saying that. That is very, very kind. And I never get sick of hearing that. But I don't think I do. There's a guy named David Anthony, and he does the best Sylvester Stallone I've ever heard. He has something. He's another level when it comes to doing Sly's voice. I think the thing with me is I have a little bit of everything. I don't think I really look like Sly. I don't think I really sound like Sly. But when you put the props on, the hat, the leather jacket, you curl the lip and so on, I think you can get the mannerisms. And then you have the essence of the character. So that's really what I try to do. But I really thank you for saying that. That's very generous of you.
Of course.
I think the only one that does a better Sylvester Stallone impression is Frank Stallone. He does a pretty damn good Sly impression.
What was I going to say? So for those of you who are listening who like don't know, Jim and Mike here created the Pretender movie. It's starring Mike, and it was produced and directed by Jim. I just watched it last night, and I have to say, truthfully speaking, I was in tears. And I was in tears just because I know. No. It was just, listening to Mike's story, like, it brought me back to my own childhood. I'm sure he gets that all the damn time, when people talk about Rocky and the impact that it had on them. And just, everything that he said about boxing and punching the bag 100,000 times. He had to move the holes in the wall. Like, it was absolutely so inspirational. And I'm going through a very difficult time right now on my own. I just started my own business. So I needed to see something like that. And what you two both created is definitely, it's going to be something that people look at 20, 30 years from now and say, I want to do what they did.
That's awesome, man. That's great. That's what it was all about, man. That's pretty cool that you got into it that much. And yeah, I think like there's like, with this film since it came out, I mean, it's been a couple of years now, and there's been like spikes in popularity of the film. Like when it came out, it was super popular, and when Sly talked about it, Sly gave us Sly happened to watch the movie and then just went to his Instagram organically and posted about it. And there was a big spike then too, of course. But what you're saying is cool because between those spikes, me and Mike both, I'm sure Mike gets more than I do, get a person here or there that reaches out to us and says, I caught the movie, how cool, I loved it. And, I'm telling everyone about it. And I had a teacher reach out to me and say that he used it as a teaching tool for his kids in class. So that's cool that you say that, man.
Absolutely.
It's funny about the Pretender. I'm always expecting people to say to me, why aren't you on medication? Why aren't you seeking professional help? What's your problem? And because, I got that a lot growing up. And actually, I actually get that more from a lot of people online nowadays. And like, especially, let's say, I'm going to just take a circular route here. Let's say on TikTok, right? Like I get massacred, eviscerated on TikTok. There are so many people that hate me and that think what they think is it's unbelievable. And then I just simply pinned a few videos of Sly talking about me and me hanging out with Sly on the set of Creed 2. And then they go, oh, and then I'll video and I'll say, why don't you go check out this documentary about my life, The Pretender? If you see this and if you still feel like I should be, retired to the bottom of a lake somewhere, then okay, then no problem. And almost always they come back. They almost always apologize. And they said, this is amazing. We just watched this Pretender. It was nothing short of brilliant. And we're going to take your tour. And these were people who were calling me, they had called me a fatter Rosie O'Donnell with Down syndromes that was drugged through a riverbed. What?
Jim was trying to hold in his laughter the whole time there. I saw it. Jim was trying to hold it in.
It's so specific that I had to laugh. Oh,
Yeah. A Down syndrome Rosie O'Donnell, fatter Down syndrome Rosie O'Donnell. I mean, I like, wow, I didn't see that. I mean, I know I packed down 20 pounds from COVID, but I'm down 9. So I'm getting back to my pre-COVID weight. I'm getting there, but Jesus, but I guess what I'm coming to is that the Pretender, there were 3 major moments in my life. And I'm not talking about when I met my wife or things in school. The boxcar derby with the Boy Scouts or something like that. It was Rocky 1, Rocky Balboa, and the Pretender, and the things that happened around that. There were moments that happened directly around those times that changed me very emotionally. It made me a far better person. So yeah, Jim, that Pretender made me a better person.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jim. No, go.
Yeah. And again, like the point of the film was, Frank Stallone actually summed it up this way. And he said, it's kind of a documentary about what makes Mike Kunda tick, like it's kind of an analysis of Mike. And we tried to leave it as open as possible for people to kind of interpret the film the way they want to, and, we hear a lot of good feedback and people feeling good about it. And, I don't know. I don't get much feedback of anyone having a negative reaction to it. I'm a couple here and there, a couple famous comedians, but we definitely tried to leave it open to their interpretation. And, it's been interesting. I haven't talked about this in a long time, but me and Mike talked about it. The film was almost like a Rorschach test, it's like you watch it and what you take away from it probably says a lot about that person, good or bad. But that's kind of, someone said that to me and I said, it is kind of like that. So
realistically speaking, the both of you can actually say that you made a movie with Sly.
That was very, and Jim has some, he's got a great thing to cap this with, but I'll talk about my end first. So there was a different ending to the Pretender, which Jim, I'm sure, will elaborate on. And none of us expected this to happen, but I had been on the set of Creed 2 in Philadelphia at the Victor Cafe. I was watching the Drago Rocky confrontation, and there was some serious involvement by all parties. Sly wanted to go one way, the director another, Drago another, and so they had to all come together and make it happen. Anyways, there was an hour break, and so Stallone goes outside to smoke a big stogie, and I had gone out. See, he had just 2 days earlier, he had just endorsed me and my tour on Instagram, which was huge. Just like Jim said, organically, and he had endorsed me several times. So, but this was like one of the first, and I just went over to him and I just said, "Hey, Sly, Mike Kunda from the Yo Philly Rocky Film Tour. Thank you for the big shout out a couple days ago." And the only way I could describe it, it was almost as if he was. It wasn't arrogant, but he took a pause, and so he smokes a cigar, blows a big puff of smoke out and goes, "Yeah, I know who you are." And I'm like, in my mind, I was like that 16-year-old girl that gets asked to the prom by the prom king. I was like, but you can't act that way because they revoke your man card when you do that in front of Rocky and Rambo. You can't. So I was just like, yeah, of course, right? And so he goes, "Come here." He goes, "You got to tell me more about this tour. What is this tour you do?" And so I told him, went back and forth, and he goes, "Never in 100 years would I've ever thought about a tour." He goes, "That's brilliant." He goes, "You really are like an ambassador to Rocky Land." I was so filled with emotion. I'm sure he saw how moist my eyes were getting. I said, "Oh my God, the guy that inspired me to do something with my life is saying I'm an ambassador to Rocky. It doesn't get any better than that. And the next thing out of his mouth, I mean, I could have exploded, and I would have been happy to die right there. He said, Mike, you have your camera with you? And I said, well, yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. He goes, why don't you give it to my assistant, Sarah? Sarah, why don't you video me and Mike talking? And we had been talking about The Pretender, and he goes, maybe you can use this footage in The Pretender. Maybe you can put it up on your website for tours so people know we're connected. And so I handed my phone to his assistant, and I was like, yeah, here you go. As if, yeah, that's how it's supposed to happen. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, sweet baby Jesus. This is, I can't imagine. And we filmed the 3 minutes, whatever it was, of the hour or 45, 50 minutes we were out there talking. And, you know, it's in the documentary. Jim, what was your thought on Sly's involvement like that? And what did you want to originally do?
Yeah. So when we were making the film, I never really wanted it to be like, well, I never really wanted it to be like Mike chasing Sly, you know, like there's so many movies like that where like I think it started with that Drew Barrymore documentary. Those guys, what was it? Chasing Drew or something?
Chasing Drew. Right, right.
And, you know, there was a bunch of those. So, you know, of course I would have taken an interview. I mean, just to sit down with the guy would have been awesome, of course. Yeah. But, you know, that didn't really come up. And it wasn't really something, honestly, I didn't seek out, because this is a story about Mike. You know, it's not a story about Sylvester Stallone. It's a story about Mike. It's a story about a person and their journey. And, you know, I still honestly, it's always funny saying this in front of Mike, but I don't know that it really works at the end, having him in there. You know, it's Stallone. He's in the credits, but, you know, there's these moments at the end of the film where it could have, we went back and forth, my partner and I, about where we're going to end this film. And, you know, it could have easily ended with Mike's mom. I don't know, Anthony, if you remember at the end, you know, she doesn't say much throughout the whole film, but she's a huge presence there. And at the end, what does she say? He's my son, you know, and it's beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful. But then, you know, it could have ended there. It could have also ended where Mike gives a final speech at the end where he's in his basement and he says, all I wanted to do, you know, was you know, be the best I could. I just wanted this moment, this, you know, and that's what I've done. And he looks super happy with himself, content, you know, and it could have totally ended there. And it did for a while. It played in the festivals like that. It ended with that, you know, I wanted to get that climax, that high point and go out, you know. And so it ran in the festivals like that, most of them. Yeah, all of them actually, because we ended up getting picked up by the distributor for the film to, you know, and right before we submitted the final film, that clip came in from Sly, and it was, you know, the Mike wanted it in, the distributor wanted it in, you know, they don't think about it as much as like we do as the creative, like that's not our vision, but they just thought, oh, Sly, then we can put, you know. So we put him in the credits to kind of make everyone happy, you know. But I don't know, Anthony, you have to tell me, what do you think? Do you think it, you know, takes away from this high point at the end, or what did you see when you saw the end of the film? How did you experience it?
So I see both sides of it. I see your side of it, Jim, and I see you know, Mike's side of it, I guess. Yeah. I'm biased because I'm a big fan of Sly's. Like, you know, I would die to have that in there. I'm not gonna lie. I would die to have it in there. Like, Anthony, that's crazy.
That was my point, Anthony.
Yeah.
That was my huge point.
Yeah.
There are a million filmmakers in every continent, of every corner of this friggin' planet, that would sell their mother's dead corpse to get Sly at no charge, mind you, at no charge to be in this. Now,
I wonder what Sly would think. Yeah. What Sly would say if we asked him that about the ending, like, because
that's a good point.
Because he's not impressed with himself, you know what I mean?
Right.
He's a director,
Yeah.
And I wonder what his, he can take himself out of it, and kind of what his opinion would be like. Yeah, you didn't need me in there, or
I'll
I'll
ask him.
I'm an A-lister. Put me,
Right.
Yeah.
That's such a great question. I definitely got to ask him. But
it's great.
I'll tell you, if I had been a little more hands-on, and I'm not a filmmaker, nor did I live in Detroit, so I couldn't be as hands-on as I would like to have definitely contributed. Zoom meeting. Okay, I lost. Oh, there you are.
There you are. You are back.
We're back?
You're back.
We're back.
All right, I'm not back. I'm out.
What do you mean?
I can't see anybody.
Oh, really?
We see you.
All right, wait a minute. I got a problem here.
Open your eyes.
I don't know. It's contact us, introducing apps, get started.
Jeez, Jim, you scared the shit out of me. Come on, guy.
I was trying to wake up Mike.
I got nothing.
Can you hear us?
Wait, there you are. I don't know what happened. It went blank. All right, I'm here. All right. So you want to edit that out? That little.
Yeah. I can edit it.
No, leave it. Because Mike was just talking about how he wanted to be more part of the filmmaking. Meanwhile, Cam has built it up. We got no
Exactly. Get out. Goodbye. So, and what I was saying before I get cut off again, I would have liked to have had. I would like to have had the picture with the book, then Sly, like have the picture with the book, then have some filler in there, B-roll, whatever, then have me talking with Stallone, then my little speech at the end, and then cut back to my mother, and then he's my son. That's like, look, he hung in there. He got the book to Sly. He became friends with Sly. He's on the set with him, dressed as Rocky, and so on. And there you go. And the number one tour in Philly, and blah 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 blah. That I thought would have been. Everyone would have been happy. But Anthony, the funny thing was we interviewed Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes played a minor role in my road towards boxing, which was a great interview. We had Chuck Wepner, the guy who was the catalyst with the boxing. We went out there and interviewed him. And so, but, and I, even though I would have been a little more ferocious in my thoughts on that, I think I'm okay with Jim and Danny's and the team's decision not to go with that. That's fine. I can see their point, and I probably would have saw their point while editing was going on, but not the one with Stallone. That would have been a massive mistake not to put that in there. Massive.
How would you? So, Mike, just one quick question that I'm dying to know. I know that we briefly spoke about it the last time that we talked. So when you say that you and Sly are connected, do you mean like you could pick up the phone and give him a call when you need to, or I'm just curious?
Yeah. So people don't know this. Sly doesn't know this, and actually, another friend of mine that's very connected to Sly that can do that. He doesn't even know this. I have Sly's number.
That's
on
crazy.
My phone. I have Frank's too, and I've actually corresponded with Frank. Usually around the holidays, I get a message from him, or I'll just say, hey, thanks again for all the kind words. I've never addressed Sly on it. I've never picked up the phone. I've never done anything like that. All of our connections come from these amazing, beautiful conversations on Instagram. He's very taken with my insight and thoughts about the Rocky series, and I have very deep questions, and he answers them in detail. Maybe once a week, sometimes more. He's very, very good, and about other movies too. And he's just, if he sees it, he answers. I could not be more appreciative of it. I don't have the cojones to call that number. Yeah, I got it a long time ago. I got it about 15 years ago. If it's even his same number, I got it from a mutual friend had given it to me, who had grown up with Stallone back in Philly. Anyways.
Wow. That is that's a dream come true. Did you ever see yourself being able, having Sly's phone number in your phone?
Oh yeah, I knew that early on. I knew when I was 11 years old and I saw Rocky. This guy's gonna be my friend. No. No, you never think of something like that. You know, like Jim, one thing I wanted to ask you, who is your, I know, Anthony, this is your show, but I wanted to ask Jim this
No,
question.
no, go for it.
I wanted to ask him this. Jim, who was your role model for filmmaking? Like, is it the typical Spielberg, Scorsese? Who inspired you filmmaking wise?
So there's like so the first thing when I realized, as a kid, I always loved movies like any kid. But the first time I saw past the actors and realized, oh, there's a director and they do all this stuff, was when DVDs first came out, and I watched Raging Bull with the commentary from Scorsese.
Okay.
And then that blew my mind. Like, what the, he was talking about, I think I brought this up before, like the size of the ring, right? When Jake LaMotta's doing well, he put together 4 boxing rings to make it huge and make him feel like he's floating and he's winning and he's free and he's, all that stuff. And then when he starts getting beat up and things aren't going so well, Scorsese made a ring a quarter the size of a real ring. So he felt like a caged animal and he couldn't move. And and then they added animal sounds to the punches, and it blew my mind. Like, you
really
can do I mean, I got chills right now. Like, this, you can do this. This is what this is. And number 2, this is a job. This is, crazy. So there was that. And then, my love for like documentaries and the style of documentary that The Pretender is in came from a bunch of, just watching a ton of documentaries when I was a teenager and in my 20s and still. But like, just those, I like the docs that are like not overproduced. They're gritty and it's just a small crew like we had.
Yeah.
Just getting the shots, and I was running the camera a lot of the times. And there were movies like The King of Kong. Have you guys ever seen that, about the arcade rivalry?
Yeah.
The King of Kong I liked a lot. I liked there was a movie about Tiffany. I Think We're Alone Now.
I think I saw that too. Yeah.
Down and dirty doc, and it kind of blew my mind. So documentaries from the 90s really are like my favorite, because the technology wasn't that great, but camcorders just came out.
Yeah.
And, they were not just came out, but, everyone could get a camera.
They were affordable for the everyday family in the 90s. Yeah.
So I like that. I that's the kind of style I like. And I told, Mike before, when the Pretender came out and it's on Amazon and the algorithms are doing their thing, these other documentaries that pop up, like, if you like The Pretender, you might also like X. Well, 9 times out of 10, I do like X.
Right.
Oh, dude, this is up there with the movie. It worked. Basically, it worked. So that's what I love. And honestly, like, we have a couple projects that we're kicking around, trying to kind of get off the ground. And both me and my filmmaking buddy are like, we got to go rogue, man. I mean, we can afford and to get a little crew and do some things, but I think it's a better product, man. I mean, just having that camera in my hand as the director takes the middleman out of it.
Yeah. And
also my partner Danny, we're so in sync now that we can speak shorthand, and he knows, like, yeah, there's the shot, hold it, hold it.
Yeah.
So that's what inspired me. It's Scorsese, of course, and
nice.
Docs of the 90s, kind of, and they're kind of coming back now too.
I never knew that about you. I wanted to ask you that, but we had so much fun on the Rocky Files. I didn't forget to ask you. I just didn't get to it, and so I'm very glad. Anthony, thank you for allowing me to co-host.
Yeah, of course. No, these are the kind of talks that I love the most. I mean, all 3 of us are artists, like, and we're basically getting to know one another's, like, what makes us tick. So, like, that's always the most interesting thing. But Jim, just out of curiosity, a lot of people ask me, how do you become like a filmmaker? Like, what's the first step to like take? What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I think just do it is always
yeah, of course,
Nike commercial. But no, really, I mean, that's it. But I think just if you're starting out as a filmmaker or documentary filmmaker, you know, don't worry so much about polish, you know, like just find a good story and mine a good story, you know, go dig deep, get into it, and you know, get weird, man. Like, you know, make it weird, dude. Try stuff and do what you like. You know, that's the other thing is the subject matter. You really gotta love it because it's a lot of work. It's hard work, and you really gotta love the subject matter for it the product to come out right. So,
Anthony, one of the things that this is right to Jim's point, to piggyback that, when he first started filming The Pretender, he was a little unsure on the camera, how to use it. So, you know, when I had Jim and I had a lot of conversations before the filming started, but Jim sold himself to me as not only a nice guy, which is 3,000% true, but also as a documentary filmmaker. So when a documentary filmmaker shows up at your house with a camera, you expect them to know how to take it out of the case.
Yeah, it was brand new. In my defense, it was brand new.
But that's Jim's point.
Yeah.
Everything was just boom. It took forever to happen. And then when it happened very quickly. And then he had to drive out from Detroit. And so it was a lot. There was a lot going on. And he's putting the camera together and going over it at the house as we're about to start. And I'm thinking, boy, what did we sign up for here? But again, if you have a passion for it, if you have the basic skills, and in Jim's case, he had more than the basic skills. I'm just saying it's interesting to me that you keep at it. It's so true.
Yeah.
How did you both know that you were right for like this like project? So Jim, you know, how did you know that Mike was going to be great to like work with and that the film was going to work? And Mike, how did you trust Jim with something so personal just from watching the film? I know how much it means to you.
Jim, why don't you go first?
Yeah. I think, you know, at first, again, we thought it was going to be like a little 5-minute short, you know, a little mini doc, you know, worth going to Philly for the weekend. So that's how I thought, you know, day one going into it. But arrival day, you know, I met Mike and Mike's parents. And when I met his parents, it was all over. You know, I knew it was not going to be 5 minutes. This is something too good to waste or rush to rush. So that was a thing. And then, you know, the other thing too, and I said this before when I met Mike, you know, people exaggerate, right? And, you know, and I thought, well, there's got to be some exaggeration here, you know, about Mike and Rocky and how many times has he seen it. But then when I met him, it was all obvious. Like, okay, there's no bullshit here. This is years and years of proof. Like, that's why I like that you brought up the punching bag. Then I moved it over. You know, he hit the bag in his basement so much that he rocked the joist loose. So he had to move it over and hit it for another couple of years. Then maybe move it over, hit it for another couple of years. And that, now that you say that, that is probably the point where I thought there is no denying that this story, Mike's story is 100% the truth. You know, there's no exaggerate. You can't fake that punching bag in the basement. You can't do it. So it was those things that kind of made me think this is special.
I'm a very trusting person. I can read people very well, very quickly. And that's why I don't have a lot of friends, because I don't trust most people. I have very, very, very few friends. And so when I met Jim, Jim was just a Rocky fan. And right away, that gave him an A+ in my book. But then talking to him over the course of a few hours on a very freezing cold January day in Kensington, that says a lot about it, two individuals. And then over time, we built a little friendship online, back and forth, whatever. And then as we got closer to filming, it got to a point. And I don't even know if I've talked about this, and I'm sure Jim remembers this. Before filming started, I was working at a paint store, delivering paint to job sites, and I would deliver 4,000 gallons in a van. It sucked. It was horrible. And I remember I just got done with this one delivery, and I had pulled over, and I was doing the Rocky stuff part-time. And I have a manager who's a good guy, really good guy, but, you know, he has a particular set of opinions and views that maybe I don't necessarily always agree with. And so I didn't overly include him in this. And his one suggestion was make sure you get a lawyer and you have this guy drop contracts and all this stuff. And I thought, all right, I saw a lot of things on the news, whatever. Maybe there's legitimacy there. And I remember calling Jim from the van. He goes, Mike, wait a minute. This is all over. It's done. I don't have money for a lawyer. I don't have that. I'm a Midwest guy.
Accent?
Yeah. No, that's a horror. See, I could do a better one. I'm at the bar in my car. Yeah. I don't have.
I'm already in the car, Mike. I'm in the car.
I can't go home. And so, and then Jim said, it's all over. And I was like, no, he didn't say it was all over. He goes, hey, that's what you want to do. I can't pursue this.
I haven't thought about that in a long. That you refresh my memory. I haven't thought about that. I just, you know what? I remember what I said. I was like, man, this is supposed to be for fun. Like I was working at an ad agency back then, and I had to deal with legal and copyright. And I thought, oh, this is supposed to be fun, man. I don't want to.
My wife and my parents, my brother, they were all in my manager's camp. They were like, don't do this. This guy's gonna, screw you over or whatever. It's all about him. He's gonna get lots of money off of this, and you're not gonna see nothing. And I go, and this is what I told everybody. I said, you know what? That's okay. Yeah. Because he can get all the money he wants. I don't want any money. I don't need any money. I'm working here. And when I walked away from them, they were all against it. And then Jim had said what he just said now. This is supposed to be for fun. This is just two Rocky fans getting together, and we're going to film one of the Rocky fans. And I said, that's it. This is the guy I trust. I never regretted it once. Not once. Jim is a man of his word, as is Danny and his crew. I got to meet his both their families, really. And so for me, Jim has gone past being just a friend. He's like a quasi brother, really. He's just, I just trust him implicitly. We had an option to do, I was asked to be part of a Pretender like series that's going to be coming out soon and, or supposedly coming out soon. And I listened to this individual who brought it to me, and I don't know, there was something there. It didn't seem right to me, just something about his whole concept. And then this individual had sent me several videos of trailers. And I wish him good luck. And if he sees this, no hard feelings or anything. But there's just something that just came across as insincere. Just didn't feel right to me. But I understood. So I think the Pretender inspired him. And I said, listen, I said, the only way I'll do this with you is if you bring Toscano on board and his people, or have him in some type of producing kind of way. I said, because I had opened up myself, my heart, my family to this. I said, I'm not going to do that again unless I trust someone. And I said, I just don't give that trust out very easily. And Jim and I spoke about it at length, and Jim didn't feel real good about it. And neither did I. And the other thing was, this guy didn't have any money to give for it. Because the Pretender did not make either of us rich. The Pretender. The spinoff from that, I got a lot of tours. I sold a bunch of books from the Pretender. So that's how I got money on it. I didn't expect that, but that's what happened. Jim, did the Pretender help you in a way?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like a calling card now, it opened so many doors and opportunities, and a lot of great people have seen the film. Oh, you'll like this one, Mike. Have seen the film and reached out for projects or other documentaries, and so it's been great. Even like corporate documentaries. We're actually starting a documentary in Detroit here, and them just knowing, like, seeing your film and seeing the success, they're like, called us for that. So that helps a lot. But this, I got it from a podcast you're on. So you're on the podcast, and the writer of Die Hard 2 recommended Pretender.
That's crazy. How insane was that?
Yeah, that was hilarious. So Anthony, the writer of Die Hard 2, it's kind of a long story, but saw the film and recommended it to some other guy, So that was, and then they had Mike on as crazy. As a guest.
That's a huge compliment. That's a huge compliment.
I know.
Huge compliment to both of you.
Yeah, thank you. It's been nuts. I mean, everyone, from Sly posting about it, Frank Stallone, Sebastian Maniscalco,
Right.
Nick Vallelonga came to the Beverly Hills premiere.
Yeah,
of it.
Oscar winner, wrote the Green Book, right?
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Just like, I mean, that stuff blows my mind. So
We got Derek Wayne Johnson, who's worked with the Stallones quite often. He's done some great projects. I believe he's doing a horror movie now down in Texas. Derek was a big fan of it too. So, and the people that we don't even know, like I've heard rumors of this one or that one, but I'm always getting people reaching out. Reaching out about this pretend people I don't know on social media, sending me DMs just thanking us for doing this film. And I thought, okay, like I guess we did okay then.
Like I think I get one ding a day, someone, a new follower, and I know exactly what it means. They just saw the film,
yeah,
and they wanted to connect. It's like one a day, which is consistent, which is so cool. So yeah.
Do you guys plan on getting together for any future projects?
I don't know. It's like, I was going to say earlier too, I think, with that series that Mike mentioned and everything, I think we really captured something special, like lightning in a bottle. I mean, it's not the most lightning you've ever seen, but a little piece of lightning in a bottle. I really am proud of what we did. And I don't think it could be recreated, but never say never, not that we do Pretender 2 or anything like that, but yes, something, sure, why not?
I would like to do a project, a definite project. Like I thought it would be great to have Jim for I don't know, maybe 2 weeks, book a whole bunch of tours and just follow us and do a show on tours and just interview people and talking about their stories, because that's one of the things that the stories I get from people are so remarkable. They're from around the world. And these are, I think Jim would have a really good take on people's stories and putting it together. I think there is something there that would be a nice bookend to the Pretender. It would have the same feel, but would have a different feel. It would be in that genre, but it would still be its own thing. And I really think it will be a beautiful bookend to the Pretender. I do. But the trick is this time is to get someone to pay for it this time.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell the audience before we wrap it up today?
No, just that's it. You said it right there. And No Dream is Improbable. Follow me on TikTok Rocky, TICK Rocky, TikTok Rocky on TikTok and on Instagram, the Yo Philly Rocky Film Tour. I'm there.
Yeah. What about you, Jim?
Yeah, no, just I check out the film. I appreciate people watching the film, and I'm always happy to hear what they thought of it, good or bad. Like I said, it's kind of a Rorschach test, but I love for people to enjoy it, and I love hearing about it. So